Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of What Now? Thank you for tuning in. I hope everyone is safe and healthy, and I hope everything is going well. I'm trying to actually post this in here, but let me type it. Hold on. I usually am pretty prepared for this, but I don't know why it's not working. Bear with me, please, as I type in this message to pin. Let me know where you're tuned in from and how you're doing. And I have a special guest today. But, oh my gosh, I am not prepared. I thought I did this. Please put... If you have any questions today, make sure you put them in the question box. I don't know if you see it, but it should be next to the comment box. Almost done, people. I'm usually better prepared, but okay, here we go. So, welcome again. Thank you for joining me for another What Now episode where I will talk to inspiring, motivating guests who help us deal with this frustration with this pandemic and everything else that's going on in the world. Oh, Yasha, I think I was in your live when you were talking to Tendai. So my guest today, I'm very excited because we finally got this together, is an amazing, talented person of all sorts. He is a musician, an artist, he's an actor, he's a speaker, he's a man of God. He is just everything that we all aspire to be. And, well, you know what? He's already in here. Let me get him in here so he can introduce himself. Mr. Tendai Ryan Nguni. Tehn Diamond. Okay. I'm excited. Everyone is tuned in and we're ready for another great talk with him.
Hey.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you?
I am at the office in the gym because even though we waited a whole month and a half to do this live so that I could get my Wi-Fi set up at home and we could do it comfortably, the Wi-Fi is down.
Well, thank you for actually going somewhere where it's working because, yeah, that was our whole issue. Like the Wi-Fi needs to work for this. So you're actually at the office this late?
Yeah, but it's like 5 minutes from home.
Oh, okay. Well, good, because
Yeah.
I don't want to go
It's
past your
the family
bedtime.
home office like.
I don't want you to go past your bedtime.
No, I'm good. Don't worry.
Well, I'm excited to finally talk to you. For everybody tuned in, I do have to tell this little story about how I came to find out about this person. In the beginning of June, when we're all still full in the pandemic, Pei is sitting at home on her laptop and she decides to go on Netflix, and Netflix gives her a notification about this wonderful movie called Cook Off. And with all the, especially beginning of June when all the protests hit around the world, I needed something light to watch. So I decided to watch this African movie called Cook Off because I like cooking shows and all those competitions. And I thought the movie was so great. All the actors in it were great that I started looking up who the leading actors were. And come to find out that Mr. Nguni is also a musician, and I happen to be in the entertainment industry and work with artists. And I went to his YouTube, I found all his songs, well, most of the songs that were on there, and I was rocking out. And I was so impressed with the quality that he was delivering that I went on Google again, tried to find who he is, where he is, and I found his Instagram and I hit him up. I sent him a message and didn't expect anything back. I saw he has like 1 million followers and, you know, I'm sure everyone wants to talk to him. And he actually hit me back about a week or so later. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Here we are,
Amazing.
finally.
Yes, here we are finally. And I was so excited because although we had to wait a long time to talk, we used this time to get to know each other better because I actually wanted to talk to you right away. And because we couldn't, we developed a pretty cool friendship so far, I think.
Yeah.
Or is it just me?
No, definitely, no, definitely. I'm just nodding away in the background in agreement. Like, yeah, no, um,
Okay.
it's been really good. I'm glad we made use of the time at least to start to kind of feel each other out and see what we're about. So this conversation almost feels like it's happened already, but
I know.
I'm glad I'm glad
Yeah,
that we're here now.
right. So one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have you as a guest is because from the moment I started talking to you, you were just so, how do I say it? You were conscious of everything that you say. You put thought into everything you do and say. That's something that I instantly picked up. I don't know if you do that on purpose or not. I think you do. But to me, that was one of the things that made me feel like you're a good person to motivate people. I do title you a motivational speaker also by the things that you put out on your Instagram. You try to
Yeah,
motivate and uplift everyone. And one of the biggest things is that you want everyone to know their purpose and live their purpose. Before we go into that,
yeah.
how has the pandemic affected you personally and business wise? That's the first question I want before we go into the rest.
For me, I mean, okay, for me personally, and I guess this is true for everyone, but for me personally, because I'm really, I'm a person who really thrives on like routine and rhythm and order and structure and that kind of thing. That has really thrown me, particularly because like just in life right now where I'm at, I'm in a place where I'm trying to find my footing, and near the start of the year, I think I was kind of I felt like I was kind of slipping into the rhythm or the structure of this, what was already a kind of a new normal for me, and then
Right.
things went upside down again. And then particularly for us here, like the I guess the response to the pandemic or what have you has been, I feel pretty reactionary,
Right.
so 1 week, there'll be certain restrictions, and then the next week they'll change slightly, and then maybe 2 weeks later they'll change again, and that's and again, I know it affects everyone, but for me personally, I would like to, I prefer a whole lot more structure. Like otherwise, like the start of the lockdown, the start of the pandemic, I was quite happy. I quite liked being at home. I quite liked the time
Right.
to reflect and just get myself in order. And like again, I found myself getting into a certain trajectory, and then lockdown was kind of loosened up again, and we could get back to work. And then once that happened, work was kind of crazy. So it's been a time with a lot of lack of control.
Well, that's
Very,
good for you. You have to learn to let go.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, as much as the things that are good for us are usually the things that we'd rather not have to do. So I'm being forced to do a lot of the things I'd rather not do, and hey, it's frantic. It's frantic. I'm constantly clutching at new straws.
Well, and me, I'm speaking now from a place where I already kind of know how you are. Getting pushed out of your comfort zone actually makes you a better person. Because
Yeah,
even in the small time that I've known you, I've already seen the change because of the new things that you're encountering now.
yeah,
And that's, I mean, not a lot of people change in that short of a time. I spoke to Chip Fu on Monday, and he changed within the 5 months of this lockdown as well, because he had new songs ready and he had to go and change the content of his songs because he didn't want to speak about what he wanted to speak about in March because
yeah,
he's a changed man. So I think that is one of the things that this pandemic and this time of lockdown and self-reflection is really good for if you take that opportunity.
yeah. No, I I
Um,
I, I agree. Like I'm all for it. As much as I love structure and routine, I'm all for change. I just I want to be in charge of change.
That's weird. Yeah. Then it wouldn't be change. Then it would be you doing what you want to do. Well, you create the change, but sometimes you gotta let God, let go and let God.
Amen to that.
Okay, going into you being back in Zimbabwe right now. I know you've been everywhere. I mean, I did my little research when I first looked you up, and I remembered everything when I had to write the little bio for the post. You studied abroad. You
Yeah.
lived in Singapore. You studied in Australia. Being back in Zimbabwe right now, what is the biggest difference between your life abroad and your life at home?
True. Things like I always say to people like the best analogy I can give is the Matrix. So the rest of the world feels more like the Matrix, and Zim feels like Zion. So thoughts become things a whole lot slower here. You know, you can dream up something, but not necessarily be able to build it or see it manifest
Wow,
as
yeah.
quickly. There's it's just a much more challenging environment. Well, when I compare with like being in Australia, and it even goes down to like just basic things sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Singapore, yeah, the same thing. Like anywhere outside, I'm always reminded of it. Like when, obviously not now, but like when I go down to like just to South Africa, just next door,
Right.
and you can the main difference is that what you can see, what you can see or imagine or think up here, you can hold in your hand a lot sooner. You know, um, Zim really forces you to be persistent, patient, but you really have to like wake up and put like a fresh battery pack in yourself every
Right.
single day, and like it's a huge testament to us, like Zimbabwean people. Like we're very like make a plan. Like we'll make a plan.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not going forward. Okay, we'll make a plan. This is not working out. Okay, we'll make a plan. Like this, there's no time really to like to really lick your wounds or to really be like, oh, I just caught an L. And when you do, like it's dangerous because whew, you can go far down. And so
So
yeah.
when they make a plan, does the plan get some follow through?
Oh, you know, you can make a plan, but then even sometimes down that road there's another obstacle. And you make a
Right.
plan again, and down that road there's an obstacle, and you make a plan again, but literally like we move. Literally it's like a place of like you keep it moving, you keep it moving, you keep it moving, you
Right.
keep it moving.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be tiring and exhausting, which is
Yeah.
about the battery pack.
Yeah, like I said, like sometimes like I think if you don't stop to maybe look behind you and be like, wait a second, I've come a pretty long way.
Yeah.
It's not may not be working out exactly how I hoped it would or as fast as I hoped it would,
Right.
but I'm still breathing.
Right.
I'm still moving. Um, Trouble is, you know, when you're moving, you're looking forward most of the time, and
Yeah.
if you look forward, or look around you, you're like, wait a second, but why aren't I, why aren't I there where that person is, or why isn't this going like, you know? And I think also, like with I think with things like the internet, you know, with the amount of access to information and other people that we
Right.
have, it's a different kind of it's I think it's a lot harder. It's mentally and
You know
emotionally
what?
because
I
you
can
know,
definitely see that.
yeah,
Going into your music, because I'm gonna sound very ignorant at this point, but I'm okay with that because I had no idea what was going on in Zim. I don't know anyone there. You're the first person that I know from there that I
eh,
know of. And so when I saw your videos on YouTube, I was just so happily surprised about the quality, not just the music, but just the videos. And so when you talk about how much harder it is for people over there to accomplish things or to reach goals or to make things tangible.
Yeah.
How hard was it for you to have the idea of, hey, I want to become a musician, an artist, a rapper, into actually making that happen?
You know, in as much as I say like, oh yeah, it's a lot harder to make things happen, like half the time while you're in it and on it, you're not aware that it's harder. You're like, you just feel like, oh, this is my grind. This is what I've chosen.
Right.
This is my dream. This is what I'm doing. It's literally only when you like you kind of come up for air or you look around, you're like, wait a second, that shouldn't have been so difficult, you know? Um, for example, like again, I'll maybe just compare with like South Africa next door. The amount of radio stations they have, the amount of TV stations they have, you know, and these are essentially just a multitude of like channels for distribution, you know. The amount of, and I guess people always say, oh, the population is much bigger as well, but but you know, we shouldn't have as many artists as we do competing for such small access to, you know, to the mass market and what have you. And at the same time, the mass market shouldn't have such a limited range of choice. So there's all these kind of, you know, little things that you don't realize actually have a huge impact on how you get things done. And you're so busy making a plan that you don't realize that, wait a second, like this needs more than a plan. This needs like a whole policy shift or something, you know?
A whole strategy. So what was for you the turning point where you felt like, okay, I can actually put out music, I can be an artist? And was that more locally in Zim only, or were you immediately played in South Africa or elsewhere?
I think where my music first got played was in Australia, but I didn't stay there long enough after I put out music to really like see the traction or real benefits of that. The first time I heard my own music on radio was when I was here, but that took a while as well. When I first got back, there was only one commercial radio station, national radio station, and I remember like, you know, I submitted my music, and at the time hip hop wasn't playing on radio, and the DJ who I submitted to was like, nah, can't play this. This is the devil's music, literally. And I was like, I don't understand, you know. But again, I don't like I don't remember being really like disheartened or broken by that. I literally just went, okay, cool. I'm going to go to Facebook. And like I said, at the time, hip hop wasn't anywhere near mainstream or anything like that. So and myself, like I wasn't very plugged in or aware of the scene. Like I came back thinking, okay, cool. Like when I went on Google, I found there's two artists, Kingpin and Munetsi. So when I was coming home from Australia, I was like, oh, I'm about to bring hip hop to my people. I cannot wait.
You were late.
Yeah, I was like, this is it. It's on. And I get here and I'm like, you know, they're not even really playing us on the radio. And then I kind of found this whole underground scene. Not underground. Like there's a whole lot going on underground. And you know, and again, I always tell people I didn't grow up like a hip hop head really. I grew up a Jay-Z fan, but I would never have called myself a hip hop head or anything like that. So I wasn't really plugged into what was going on. So yeah, anyway, I ended up going to Facebook. I remember I was here. I came back home late 2008. I shipped out to Cape Town to stay with my aunt late 2008 for like a couple of months. And while I was there, I went to my Facebook page, which had, I think I had just over 100 people or just under 100 likes or followers on my Facebook. I forget what it was called then, likes or followers, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I decided like I'm gonna burn 100 copies of my first mixtape to CD and mail them out. So I mailed them out all over all these different people.
So all those people that liked your page.
Yeah, to the first 100 people. And that for me, that was like that was the beginning for me. Because through there, I met the person who I'd say would be the first person to really pour into me and put their money where their mouth was. A friend of mine, well, he became a friend of mine. His name was Adil. He was in Pakistan at the time, but he's from Zimbabwe. Yeah, and he was like, yo, I'm listening to your mixtape. It makes me miss home so much. Like, what's missing? What needs to happen? And I was like, yo, I guess I need investment, man. I need some backing. And he's actually the person who funded that, probably the dopest video I've done, Grown Up Kid.
Right. Yeah, I love that video.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the video that when my friend from London was here, the DJ, he said that it really sounded like this could be an artist on Jay-Z's label. Like, you could have been a Rock Nation artist, like a Rockefeller artist. So you could definitely hear the influences from Jay-Z in that one. But I do love how playful the video is as well. I like all the videos, actually, because they really, you know, address the content of the song. They add to that. The sound is gone. I don't hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
I actually won my first award thanks to that video, and it was a National Arts Merit Award, and it was the first time a hip hop artist had won. Well, it's called a NAMA. The first time a hip hop artist had won a NAMA, and that was my first award. That one, actually, Grown Up Kid.
That was awesome. That's awesome. Who did the styling? The styling was cool too.
I think I dressed myself. There was a time where I was just obsessed with like you know, waistcoats and like weird hats. So.
The hats, yeah. It looked really cool. Okay, going a little bit further down the years. Well, one of my favorite song that I like is The Year Before Rap. Mostly because it's about something. It's not about nothing. And I'm always oh, he's in here. He says that song and video is dope. So yeah, so that song made me realize, okay, this is not just somebody trying to rap or trying to be hip hop, but you have something to say. And that ties into, you know, you being the person you are today. I'm going to say this. I don't know if I can pronounce it right. Tisun Goda Zacho.
Hey! You always get it right.
I always get it right. I just got to remember it. I got to remember it. So for those who can understand that, I did that. That's my first, what's it? Shona? What did you say? What Shona. Yeah, that's the language, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's my first, I guess, phrase that I learned. T&D, exactly. So T&D is a...
The tribe is in here.
Tisun Goda Zacho. Okay, so that means...
We are the diamonds, or we are the diamonds they speak of.
Okay, so you started something with T&D, heading that, being kind of like motivating people and having people find their purpose. What made you do that?
Ooh, okay. With TND, how TND started, it started out as it was actually a line in a song that I wrote. So it was 2014. I released a song called Sumuza Gumbo. Now Sumuza Gumbo is a phrase that came from, like, it used to be an old war cry, and it goes Sumuza Gumbo Harizirako, like, so, which basically means like lift up, like, it's like raise your feet, raise your legs, like, get to, okay, the meaning is more like raise your feet, get to work. It's not like you don't belong to you, almost, is how I kind of interpret it. Like, think not, I interpret it like this: think not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, is how I interpret it. So it's like, yo, you can't just be sitting back complaining or worrying or pointing fingers. Like, it's on you, and not just for you. You owe it to everyone else, you know? Right. And the line in the song was, regardless of the rocks out in Marange, Tisungoda Zacho Dzese, there's nothing we can't do, Tikabata na Tese. And Marange was this diamond field of diamonds that was discovered, like, in the east. Is it in the east? Yeah, Marange diamonds, right? And long story short, like, there was this discovery of diamond deposits, and we were all so excited and celebrating, like, yo, this is it. This is what's about to like revive the economy and turn things around. Da 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 da. And then, like, you know, down the line, what happened is like, and who knows how far true this number is, but it kind of came out that like 15 billion worth of value or diamonds was like just, you know, I don't know, embezzled, lost, or what have you. But long story
Right.
short, it wasn't the magic bullet we all felt and believed it might become, right? So I think myself, like a lot of other Zimbabweans, was kind of like disheartened and kind of like, okay, so what do we do now? And for me at that time, I was like, I kind of said to myself, you know what? I put my hopes, I went ahead and put my hopes in something happening outside of me. So there was a reaction of like kind of saying, you know what? I'm not gonna believe in diamonds. Try and find
Okay. What?
what is of most value inside myself. I'm gonna refine that. I'm gonna mine that, and I'm gonna make that work for me. You know. So you
Yes.
know that line says regard, and you know, so the line was regardless of the rocks, regardless of whatever value was out there in the ground somewhere, we are the diamonds that they speak of.
Right.
And there's nothing that we can't do. If we come together, there's nothing we can't do. So the idea behind Tisumboda Zachu is like purpose. Purpose is that thing when they say, "Oh, we're created in the image of God." Purpose is that piece of God that is it within
Yeah.
all of us. And I believe like purpose is not something that you have to find. It's something that you define. And
Right.
if we can do that and come together, we're powerful in the sense
Yes,
that,
we can do a lot of things.
you know, in the sense that you are yours, and no one can take your purpose from you. No one can compete with you for purpose. Like everybody's purpose is different. You may have a similar purpose, but there's that thing that makes it uniquely yours. I always say purpose is that point within yourself where your heart and the heartaches of the world kind of intersect. And at that point, like that is your purpose. That is your diamond. So that's how TND happened. There was a line in a song, and then it became a little snapback. I had Tisungo Zacho on it, and I used to call it the Hustler's Halo.
I still want one of those.
And then,
I
yeah,
might have to make one
I've been
myself.
dying to do them again.
Well, I'll make one over here just for me.
No, seriously, you should. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
My mind, I change,
Yeah.
not change, but I don't know. I overthink.
It'll be funny when I walk around with a hat or a shirt with that line and then see how many people can actually understand what it says out here.
But see, that's what I really loved about, because when I was kind of creating the brand, there was this idea of like, okay, well, will people even know what it means? But what I loved about it is that I always felt like, yo, it would be a conversation starter, because then you have to
Yes.
stop and tell the story, like, oh, well, it means this, and
Yes.
da 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 da, you know. And
oh yeah, and then you can go into somebody's purpose if they already know or not. That's a really good one. And you know, going back to when you were saying what you were saying about you know, you wanting control, and this whole time has been like crazy for you.
yeah,
Part of what I believe is part of your purpose is also taking everything in. This is what's supposed to happen, because even though we define our own purpose, if we take into consideration God's plan, then this is all part of God's plan. God already had our plan laid out before we were born.
yeah.
So, and he has a purpose for us that we just have to live in and have to live out.
And
But
I find that's one of the hardest things to remember, to slow down and just be like, okay, wait a second, this is a part of the plan, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll remind you every now and then.
Please. But,
it's easier when someone else says something that you already know than having to tell yourself, because that's something that we all struggle with, which is why I think TND is an amazing way to not even help people define their purpose, but even making them aware of, like you said, not just living for self or doing things to accumulate wealth or things for yourself, but realizing that whatever you do can also be of service to others.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, before I even realized it, I already knew that I was always helping people. That's always been in my nature. I've done 9 years of a help desk job for an internet provider, and I loved helping people and making them happy, fixing their problems. And even now, as an artist consultant, an artist manager, or even a music journalist, I'm helping people. The whole reason I
Yeah,
started this talk was to help people get through these times and inspire them. And that wasn't even, I didn't even think of that. But
yeah,
now I realize that that is probably my purpose here on earth, helping others fulfill their purpose or their dream.
yeah,
Uh, so for me to be aware of it, I'm doing a better job. So
yeah.
for you to help people understand it, that's an amazing thing, because that's also being in service.
For me, I always feel like mine is like I always say how to Phil help me define it, but like to serve as a gentle reminder that purpose matters, you know?
Yes.
I think because it's so easy to just feel like, okay, it doesn't really matter that this means something to me. This thing that I dream of doing, this thing that I want to do, this thing that I feel so drawn to do, it doesn't really matter. Let me go and do the thing that's gonna make me the money right now. And
Right.
particularly like in the environment over here, is you're kind of forced to do a lot of like hustling and side hustling and like living for today and like, okay, what's gonna bring me short term gain. And so very often, particularly when it comes to purpose or that thing that really means the most to you or that thing that really draws you, that thing's always going to take time. That thing always requires
Yeah.
like sacrifice. That thing always
Yes.
requires like sleepless nights. Maybe
Investing. Yeah.
you're not gonna eat this night, and it's slightly different to like passion because like
Yeah.
I think I said it in another live, like it's that that thing that you see out there in the world that like strikes you as like a problem, and it grabs your attention because you're the person with the solution
Yeah.
for that thing, or at least a part of that solution for that thing, and like it nags at you because of that. And for me, as much as like I have so many days where I feel like but I always find myself, I feel so much better when I can make someone feel better.
Yeah.
And like
Same. Yeah.
a lot of the time I spend in my inboxes with people and they're like, oh, this, and I'm like, and I'll type things like da 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 da, and then I'll read it. I'm like, man, you needed that too, Ten. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't know, and yeah,
But that's the thing. What people fail to understand is that helping others helps you too.
yeah,
When the pandemic hit over here, the first week I was cooking food for nurses that were single parents. And I did that because they had like night shifts and the kids were at home and they were all crazy. So I was like, okay, let me cook extra food and take it there. And my mom was like, well, who's paying for this? Are you doing that by yourself? I'm like, Mom, it makes me feel better that I can contribute in this crisis over here. And I can look back at this knowing that I did my part in the best way I could. I mean, obviously I'm not still doing it because that would be crazy. But I mean, I did it when they had night shifts because then they were tired and had sleep. So
yeah,
for me, and they didn't expect me to keep doing it, but that for me, that helped me feel better about the situation in the world. As it now has become sort of like a new normal. But helping others always makes me feel better. It makes me
yeah,
happy. And that is the reward. I don't necessarily need a reward for that. So I do understand how you feel.
yeah.
Who are people that, you're an inspiration to people? Who are some of the people that are an inspiration for you?
Sorry, we're in the this is our windy month. Um, I'm very much inspired by I'm very much inspired by my dad, and I'm very much inspired by my mom. And then outside of like my parents, um, I'm like Jay-Z
Yeah, I was gonna say Jay-Z. Yeah.
has always been a huge inspiration for me. Just the way he like he's always been like the quintessential music businessman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but there's tons of people who inspire me, to be very honest. I'm very I'm very sensitive to inspiration, so to speak. It'll be an epic movie where I'm like, I watch it, I'm like, yeah, like, oh, you've done it, you've overcome that. Or I'll listen to a song, or just watching someone's journey, or
Yeah.
it'll be some random person on Instagram who I'm kind of like, I get stuck in their feed. I'm like, yo,
You get
you're
inspiration from
doing it,
everything.
And
Yeah.
yeah, someone just said Burna Boy. Burna Boy.
Yeah.
I'm very, very inspired by Burna Boy. But like closest to home, it's my mom and it's my dad. And for two kind of like opposite reasons. Like my mom is such a light, such a open-minded and positive and uplifting person, right?
Yeah.
And that light is what has sustained me for years and years and years and years. There's never been any dream I've had that she's not the voice that goes, are you sure that's gonna? She's like,
Really?
she
That's
kind of just
great.
goes like, if you believe, I believe. Like, she's been where my strength
That's
is
a
from.
blessing.
Yeah. And then my dad, as like, particularly in this space or phase of my life where I'm like, I really feel like I'm trying to hunker down and really, I guess, quote unquote, become a man, become someone who my family can depend on.
Yeah.
And I realize how hard it is to be a quote unquote man. The things you need to navigate, the kind of the discipline it requires, the type of the practicality and the patience as well that it requires. It's not it's not like the world I come from, where I came from, of like being a musician, where it's like I
Right.
can kind of you know what it is, as a creative, thoughts become things a lot quicker than they do as a mere mortal, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
And it's like you gotta hang up your creative
Yeah.
cape, and
Yeah. You can't. Yeah.
like you can't just fly there. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, walk.
Walk first, and then maybe
It'll be
run.
good for you. You're like, but we're just trying to get there.
Yeah.
Let me just use the thing and get there.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm appreciating what I now understand to be the kind of the journey he's taken to become who and what he is. And it's a growing appreciation. So he inspires me a lot these days.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, just you talking about even your mom supporting you. I come from a childhood where my parents were there for me. They loved me, but they never supported my dreams. And that was a big conflict, to the point where I didn't speak to them anymore, because
Yeah.
I refused to do what made them happy, and I wanted to do what made me happy. Now, this story luckily has a happy ending, because they were at one point on board with it, because they saw that they weren't going to stop me from doing what I love to do. And in the end, every parent wants to see their kids happy. So, I mean, my mom is still not that happy with it, but she accepted it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big blessing. As far as inspiration goes, I think it's amazing that you can get inspired by anyone, but that your parents had such a big influence on you becoming the person that you are today, even. And going into that, being the person that you are today, there's so much going on in the world. The Black Lives Matter movement, the global pandemic, doubters, non-believers, people just doing whatever they want to do because they feel like they have the right. Brings me to, ever since I met you, I was aware of the situation in your country right now. And it's not something that's on everybody's map, because it's far from our society, so we don't think about it unless it's in the news.
Yeah.
Now, although it's been in the news, it's not necessarily in the news over here. So I've been reading up on it ever since you told me about, I don't know if I have Wi-Fi. I have to go get water. For me, it was like, let me see what's going on. You're like, well, I don't know if there are going to be protests. It really made me want to look up what the situation is over there, simply because I now have a friend over there and I'm concerned about the situation. Um, Zim Lives Matter. Can you say something about the situation over there and how you and your circle are dealing with that? For those who are tuned in from my end that don't know.
Yeah. Zimbabwean Lives Matter, man. How did that spark off? So there was there was protest proposed for the 31st of July, right?
Yeah.
And like leading up to this, um, there's this journalist named Hopewell who was arrested, and he had been like exposing a whole lot of like corrupt deals that had been going on with regards to like COVID-19, PPE like gone missing, and money, money being basically stolen from where rather from where it should have gone. And then leading up to this proposed date for the protest, he got arrested, and he's still locked up. And then I think on the day of the protest, I don't know how, it's hard to say. I don't know how many people protested, but a lot of people got locked up.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's where the hashtag basically stemmed from. And it's really just because people are feeling stifled. Like you can't even really say like, yo, we want better, or this is not
Right.
on, this is not right, this is holding us back, this is not good. And like people are being forced to not say, like, and I always say, like, if you came on the ground and you're walking around, and then also like looked online, you would feel like there's a disconnect or think there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, the environment, the nature of things just doesn't allow for people to just speak freely.
Yeah.
And what I always say, what really breaks my heart is like, why are people fighting so hard to not be held accountable?
Yeah.
Why are people fighting so hard to not be asked to do better, to just raise the standard even just for themselves? And like, you read about people going missing, you read about people being beaten up, and it's just like, okay, why are we not allowed to speak about it? Why are we not allowed to ask for that to change or for that to stop? Why do you have to become an enemy of the state the moment you do that? So yeah, like I said, it feels very stifling, and it's disheartening, because I mean, we all just want better. I was saying to a friend the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying to
the government is supposed to take care of the people.
Yeah.
In a ideal world. Obviously, with capitalism and all of that, and power hungry people, that's not always the case. What do you think is the solution for your country and for the people in order to live better? Would it be a change of government? Would it be a change of, I don't know who was on the top there, but
I honestly,
is it dangerous for you to say this?
Yes, but I honestly don't know,
Right.
Because like, you look at it from some angles and it gets to a point where you feel like, man, are we also part and parcels? Are we also to blame? And I'm not saying that it's our fault that we asked to be treated or to feel this way, but it's like, it gets to a point where it's like, what do we actually do? What can we actually do?
Right.
Even like something as basic as saying, yo, this is wrong, do better. Yeah, I don't know.
So what do you think people like me can do from the outside? Is there some type of influence that the outside world can put on the change? I'm not asking you for solutions, just your thoughts.
You know what? I think it does help that the world is starting to see, or more people are starting to know about what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, just even from a point of view of like, okay, we're speaking and we're being heard. But I don't believe that that change or help is going to come from outside.
Right. Come from inside.
we have to change ourselves and help ourselves.
Right.
I feel like it always comes back to that. I don't think anyone's coming to save us. And
Right.
I mean, the world is full of problems. Everyone is dealing with their own
Yeah.
problems. That's the reality and the truth of it, you know. And
Especially today. Yeah.
and at the end of the day, from the highest level down to the lowest level, we have to take responsibility for ourselves and our own mess.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or no, not even unfortunately.
That's just the fact.
It's important. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess to use a biblical reference, we each have to carry our own cross.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wanted to address that simply because I feel it's important for other people to at least be aware what's going on in the rest of the world. I've always been a person that's traveled and sniffed up different cultures. And if it wasn't for COVID-19, I would probably look up a plane ticket to go to Zimbabwe just to visit you and, talk
And
shop.
you would love it here. Like I
I
said,
know. I already
we're
know.
a happy, wholesome, and helpful people. You would absolutely love it.
I
You'd
know
love
I
it.
would. I know I would.
Yeah.
I love it everywhere where it's not here. I love my hometown, but I've been here long enough to know what's going on here. So I always love going to new places and meeting new people, especially different cultures. Going into a little bit more positive things now, what are some of the things that you want to accomplish in the next 2 to 5 years?
Uh-oh. Da, 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 da. How do I define it?
While he is thinking, people, if you do have questions, feel free to put it in the question box before we get cut off.
In the next 2 to 5 years, honestly, probably like the biggest thing for me on a personal level, I would love to be married and like on my way to like building my corner of family in the world. I would really love that. Professionally, I hope in the next 2 to 5 years I'm putting out tons more music again. I'd love for Tehn Diamond to be alive and active again.
Yes, I would love that too.
I'm working on I guess my side hustle or a dream business of mine. Like I'm building up a branding agency. I'd love to see success for that, but a lot of these things right now, I'm currently in a space where I'm defining them, and like I find myself like, I guess it's normal, but I'm like setting and resetting goals constantly. So the next 2 to 5 years for me is crazy, but like I guess I'd like to feel like I have a better handle on my life,
Right.
personally and professionally.
Control, going back to control again.
Yeah, and I guess personally for me that looks like, okay, settled, married, going somewhere, and then professionally I'd really love to have my own business going, and that's what the agency looks like.
Right.
For me. Yeah.
Well,
whatever
I'm laughing.
That looks like.
I'm laughing because in the live with what's his name, Yasha.
Yeah.
They thought you were married already, which is hilarious to me because when I first found you on Instagram, I saw that it was a photo shoot. I read the captions and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is not him, because I was ready to type congratulations, and then I thought, wait a minute. But the fact that a lot of people thought you were married already was just so funny to me, because that's what social media does, the perception of. But yeah, I think those are pretty good goals, and we never know what's happening within the next few months. Even I don't even know what's happening. So that was just a question to see where your head is at. So your own business, I'm sure you'll get that together. And we just want new music. Me personally, I want new music out because it's just really, really frustrating when you find a new artist that you absolutely love and want to play, and there's nothing new.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's one of the things that I got on your case about instantly. Like, why is there only one song on Spotify? I played this song out, and it's not even my favorite, but because it's the only one I'm playing, it became my favorite now. Yeah, I can probably sing it along. If you go to your statistics, I think the Netherlands will be on top now for that one song. Like all the streams is my money. But yeah, I definitely want. Okay,
I'm gonna
see,
start calling it. I'm gonna
so
start calling it
Rashawn,
Happy.
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 Rashawn is a great artist as well. He says he's going to check you out. Well, Rashawn, you're going to have to wait until all the music is online, because this guy, you can find him on YouTube for now. Yeah, Tendai.
You can find one or two on YouTube. Okay, look, my goal, let's say before the end of this year, I'll have a more rounded representation of my music up, definitely. And then in the next 2 to 5 years, a whole lot more music out. That's my hope and dream.
Well, speak it into existence. So
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. I always do this with my guests. I have them speak out their goals and dreams, because if you speak it into existence, it'll manifest. But yeah, please make more music. Okay, so we still got a little bit of time.
Cool.
Who are some of the people aside from Jay-Z that you would see yourself working with, musically or business wise? Or who would you love to work with? Who are on your bucket list?
I'd love to work with Burna. When he came to Zim, I got to spend like 2-3 days with him, like in his, like me, my best friend who's a producer, and my other best friend who was our manager at the time. We went to see him, and he's like, yo, can you guys bring me we brought him a whole studio, and we just spent the whole time there with him, like getting high, making music, like, and I were like writing with him, and like just watching the way he works was such an inspiring and like motivating experience. I would love to be, I'd love to work with him and put something out with him, definitely.
You guys didn't exchange contact information?
We exchanged information with the manager at that time, but that's no longer his manager. A lot of weird things happened.
Well, you know, we got social media now. If you reach out and say, "Hey, remember me?" then I'm sure he will.
You know what? I may just do that.
Hey, you got nothing to lose.
True.
I did that with you. I didn't expect anything back.
These are facts.
Yes.
Who else would I love to work with? I'd love to work with Frank Ocean. I love Frank Ocean's music.
Oh, I love Frank Ocean. Okay,
yeah,
speaking that to existence.
I think that'd be my top two, and definitely Jay-Z as well. I'd still love to work with Jay-Z.
Speaking that into existence.
Yeah, Burna Boy, Frank Ocean, and Jay-Z. That's my top. That'd be my top three. But again, also, I'm so open to, like, you never know, like if the vibe is right, like I'm so open to just working. Like I'm one of those, with music, my dream was always, like, I never had like dreams of like, oh, I want to be the biggest name here and the what, but like I've always wanted to be the most prolific. Like I always, like, I remember I found this old journal of mine, and like I wanted to like leave behind hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 songs, and just know that like I put so many different pieces of myself out there, because of like the way I write. A lot of it is it's almost like living journals,
right
in a lot of the cases, you know. So
well, we're gonna again speak all of that into existence. So you're gonna have your songs with these people. We're gonna have more songs from Tehn Diamond, and I will finally be able to make a whole playlist full of you instead of one song. Because I think all my friends are done with that song now too. I've been brainwashing them with the song, but it did get picked up. It was happy, and then people were like, "Oh, what's this? I like this." So, you know, at least that one song got you a little bit more fans. Okay, he's frozen now. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. You're back here. As we go into our last few minutes, are there any words of advice for people that are tuned in or will be watching this on how to navigate in this life? Is there a motto you live by or a mantra?
Do you know what I really believe is that the meaning of life is to give life meaning. And for me, that kind of helps me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the illusion of control, or the illusion of like I can still have put, like, you know, put a mark on something, but like we all have in us the power to give meaning to the bad or sad or whatever circumstances, crazy circumstances in our life. We have that power to like grab it and like turn it around and be like, that, yeah, maybe you look like this, but this is what you actually are. So I think one of the things I live by is the meaning of life is to give life meaning.
That's really nice. But
Yeah.
now it's like people are like, oh, how do I give life meaning? That by defining your purpose.
But you see, even asking yourself questions like that, like thinking those questions out loud, we're such powerful creatures. Like, ask yourself a question and then answer what you got. It's hard to say that you will answer the question, but an answer will come up. I feel
Yeah.
like it's almost a kind of prayer when you're like, yo, what? Even say, you say out loud, like, what should I do in this situation? Something is
Right.
gonna come up. We kind of underestimate ourselves, but we have the answers within us, around us. I don't know where it comes from, but like these things come up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me on my live What Now series. We finally got it together. I'm very, very grateful to know you as a person. You definitely inspire and motivate me. And I definitely want to be part of your journey in whatever way I can. So whatever I can do for you, I will be here to assist you to live out your dream. Thank you
Thank
so
you so much
much.
for having me.
Yeah.
For being and for being so patient.
Always. Because, see, unlike you, I learned to let go of control and just wait until the timing is right. But I'll rub off on you with that. You stay safe. Go to bed on time.
Yes,
Everyone,
ma'am.
thanks for tuning in. Everyone, stay safe as well and stay inspired. I will be back next week with more interesting people. Actually, I have next Monday, I have Wendy Day from Rap Coalition, a very, very interesting business woman that done so much for rappers over the past decades, you know, regarding $1 million deals even. So be sure to tune in for that one if you're an artist and want to know how to navigate in the business. Thank you again, Tehn. We'll talk tomorrow. And
Yes,
everyone,
tomorrow
thank you
is
so much.
payday.
Tomorrow's payday. I wish it would
Thank you
happen.
so much for having me again.
You're welcome. And
Yeah.
yeah, stay you. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thanks,
Bye bye.
everyone. Bye.